State your first and last name.
Sandy McConnell.
Sandy, what branch of the military were you in?
That's in the Army National Guard.
For how many years?
15.
Where were you stationed?
I've been in the Massachusetts National Guard in the 77 Deuce MP Company. I finished my time out in the Rhode Island Guard. I was deployed with the 119th MP Company to the Bosnian theater.
What were your duties?
Our unit was stationed in Hungary, and we were responsible for Croatia and parts of Bosnia. And the unit did things like route reconnaissance, VIP escort, special weapons escort, things like that. I was the Tactical Operations NCO, so my group of guys, I was a E6 at the time, Staff Sergeant, and my group of guys were actually responsible for keeping track of the guys that were going downrange, making sure that they were checking in at the specific checkpoints as they went through Croatia and Bosnia, and make sure that there was constant communication just to ensure their safety.
Take me through a walk through an average day while you were out there.
Basically, the guys would come, check in, get their communication information, and we had different routes that we would go down. And the routes had to be checked daily because we never knew what happened there during the day or at night. The biggest or the scariest thing was there were a lot of minefields. So we had a map of where all the mines were, and it was unbelievable. I had the opportunity to go down to Sarajevo, and it's really actually incredibly sad. You drove by an area where there's a school playground, and it was like a very young boy with only one leg. And, and very close to the playground, you can see an area where there were minefields, and there was still a lot of, Sarajevo was a really sad area for, still, and, that happened back in the 1980s.
Was it a culture shock for you?
Well, I think that a big thing that always crosses my mind, especially with Veterans Day, and I always think about my time in the service, is that with what I saw as far as the places that were bombed and these people, that have suffered so much. And I have a picture when I was in Sarajevo, and the buildings behind me were clearly all bombed, and nobody really lived there anymore. And there was this woman walking around with a wheelbarrow, just trying to salvage whatever she could. And it really made me think that regardless of how difficult my life might be here, in my life, I will never, ever have it that difficult.
Yeah.
And it really makes me feel grateful for what I have here. And, if this is something that happened in the 80s and they haven't rebuilt, the World Trade Center got bombed and we were able to rebuild because we had the resources to rebuild, and they don't have the resources to rebuild. It's very sad.
What does Veterans Day mean to you?
It's about really thanking the active military now and the veterans from our past, to really helping to protect, the United States and to defend our country from, these people, the enemies or the possible enemies, and obviously helping people, throughout the world, because we're not just helping our country, but we're going in there and trying to help others as well. But it's just being grateful for those people that were there fighting for us, whether they be drafted or they join. I think that people have people think that a lot of people just join the military because they want to go to school, and I don't think that that's necessarily true. And if that's the reason that they initially joined, that might not be why they stayed. And I think that being that part of something bigger and having an effect and some sort of impact, on our life here is huge.
What would you say was your normal duties within the National Guard over here?
I taught the Master Fitness Trainer course.
Oh, cool.
I was Master Fitness Trainer certified, and then which was run by active duty from Fort Benning. There was a wellness program for people who couldn't pass their PT test or were overweight, and we brought them in for 3 weekends, teaching more about exercise, about nutrition, and had some really great results with that.
You kept our soldiers fit.
Yeah, I tried.
You're the face behind what's keeping these guys going, what's keeping them in great shape.
You have to think about when somebody's deployed, and it's not just they're carrying their weight and they have an M16. They have the weight, they have a rucksack, they have a flak vest, that has all kinds of different things in it, on it. If you're an MP, you're probably carrying a 9mm along with the M16 and the Kevlar. There's a lot of extra weight on you.
Of course.
So, a person like myself, I'm like a whopping 120 pounds. You add an extra 30 pounds to me, that's a struggle. So, and these guys that can, they're overweight and stuff like that, it's going to be a struggle for them too. So it's really important to make sure that they stay in shape. I don't think that people really appreciate it as much as they should until they are deployed, and then they realize, wow, this is a lot. But hopefully I had a positive impact on some people, and nutrition part of it. That was the whole Master Fitness Trainer course, was sort of everything combined. So
just last question, and just save this for the end. Have you lost any close friends?
Yes.
Yeah.
Recently, just over a year ago, we lost a friend to the 22. So I will say that if you know somebody who's in the military, check on them, make sure they're okay, and so that they don't become one of the 22.
You've been overseas. You've been active within our country, and whether you're fighting for our country or fighting for our fellow citizens, you still have a job to do that you've done, and we are very grateful for you and for our men and women who are overseas, who are still fighting here on our own land just to protect a country that you love.
Absolutely. If I could still be in, I would still be in. If somebody asked me if I would do it again, absolutely.
Thank you very much, Sandy.
Thank you for your time.